Welcome to another edition of Jules Voto's Photo Focus. In this video, I'm going to be talking about another Nikon legendary lens, the 24mm 2.8. This lens was originally introduced in 1967. The version I'm going to be talking about is a newer version, the Ais version from the early 80s, and this one is multi-coated. But the significance of that lens when it was introduced is the fact that it has CRC. It was the first Nikon lens to have CRC, which stands for close range correction. So it improves image quality as you focus closer by moving some of the internal elements. So it's a great little lens, very compact. It weighs 250 grams or 8.8 ounces, and it has a rubber insert on the focus ring. It's mostly metal construction, takes 52mm filters, and uses Nikon's HN1 screw-in lens hood. It focuses down to 1 foot, has apertures from 2.8 to f22 in full stops. Now, when I was shooting for a weekly newspaper back in the 90s, this lens, along with a 35 2.0, were two of my most used lenses. I recently did a video using a 28mm lens for street photography, and in the comments to that video, someone suggested, what about a 24? And I used it before, so I decided to do this video on using this 24 for street photography. Now, one of the great things about using a wide-angle lens for street photography is that it has a lot of depth of field. So set for approximately 15 feet at f8, everything will be acceptably sharp from 5 feet to infinity. So that's what I did. I shot at f8 for all the pictures you're going to see. We'll be looking at those pictures in a few minutes. And I really didn't have to worry about focus. I just picked up the camera, framed it, and shot. Now, I used the lens on my Nikon Z8 using the F to Z adapter. Now, as you may know, the Nikon Z8 has in-body image stabilization, and if you set the non-CPU lens data in the camera, you now have IBIS on a lens that's over 40 years old. Even if you had the original from 67, you got a lens that's almost 60 years old, and something that wasn't even thought of back in those days. You can have in-body image stabilization, so it works out great. This lens is very sharp, edge to edge. It just produces great results, and I really like the fact that it is so compact. Now, of course, when you use the adapter on your mirrorless camera, of course, it's going to make the lens a little bit bigger, but you lose nothing in image quality. So if you're looking for a prime wide-angle lens for your mirrorless camera, this is a great choice. Or if you're shooting with Nikon film cameras or even Nikon DSLRs, this lens fits the bill for a really good wide-angle manual focus lens. So let's go look at some pictures. Now, I shot these pictures, as I often do, in Merchantville, New Jersey. A friend of ours has a thrift shop there, and my wife helps her out several days a week. So I will drop my wife off from work and then walk around Merchantville shooting some pictures. So that's what I did this day. It wasn't the greatest day. It was raining on and off. It was mostly drizzling for most of the time. So I protected the camera with a plastic bag, basically. The camera is fine in rainy conditions, but the lens is not weather sealed, so I wanted to protect it. So there's a lot of churches in Merchantville, and I like to shoot architecture, as anybody who's watched any of my videos probably knows. So I just, walked around and found some buildings I had never shot before. This church I had never photographed before, and it looks different with the 24. It gives you you got to get a little closer to you know, like the doors in this situation here. If it was at the 28, I could have shot further away. And this was a little bush next to the church. And this is one of the few that I actually focus. And it's very sharp, edge to edge. There were some raindrops. I don't know if you could see that in the image, but there were some raindrops on the leaves. And here is another church, yet another church. And so there weren't a lot of people out on this day. And so I like, when shooting street photography, to try to photograph some people. And really, there was no luck with that. So I kind of focused on some other things. And I thought this sign was very interesting. I never saw a sign like that before. In fact, there were two of them alongside this small church. One on the parking lot side and one on the street next to the church, this one. So never saw that sign before. So, you know, I like to photograph signs sometimes. And here was another one. And then I just waited. I stood there waiting. I liked the angle of the sign, and I didn't try to straighten it or anything. And then I saw a car coming by. Now, I should have shot this at a slower shutter speed to blur the car. I think that would have been a more effective picture. There's also a golf course not far from the store, about 3 blocks away. And I had never walked there before, so I did and got a few pictures. It's a private course, so I didn't go onto the course, but I did shoot some shots from the street. And it's nice when doing this type of photography, especially in the rain. You want to shoot quickly, keep the camera protected. And I really didn't have to focus, you know, because I just went with the extreme depth of field that a 24 has. And this lion, actually, I did focus on a little bit. And here's another sign. I know these aren't the most interesting pictures, but I just wanted to show what the lens can do, show how sharp it is. And a cloudy or a rainy day, I prefer for photographs, as long as it's not raining hard, but I prefer because you get nice, soft, even light, not a lot of shadows. Now, sometimes you may want those shadows, but I didn't in this case. And this is a house I had photographed before with a 28mm lens. And I was able to keep everything in focus with the 24. Now, here's another case where I focused on the flowers in the foreground. I shot at f11, only one at f11, and was able to get the church door in the background in focus. So, unfortunately, it rained. I didn't get any people, but I was pleased with the results from this lens. It wasn't a surprise. I have used this lens, as I said earlier, many times years past. Haven't used it much lately because I'm primarily using zooms, but I think it worked out very well. So in conclusion, I highly recommend this little lens if you're looking for something wider than a 28 or a 35mm. The 24 works out great. So if you have any questions or comments on this video, please leave them in the comments below. I usually respond to all questions and all comments. And also, if you'd like to see some more videos on classic manual focus lenses, let me know. Let me know what lenses you would like to see me report on. Now, I don't have everything, but I do have a good number of old manual focus lenses. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I publish a new video every Monday morning and Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So I will talk to you next time.